Who's thinking about buying football in June? Well, with the super early bird football promotion at WagerTalk and Sports Memo, we have a few reasons why. Early bird pricing for NFL and college football combo is $8.99, but using coupon code FOOTBALL100, you can take $100 off, dropping the price to $7.99. If you purchase by June 30th and use coupon code FOOTBALL100 to get your $100 discount, we'll also toss in an additional bonus. On July 4th, we'll take the highest scoring MLB game of the day and give you $10 for every run scored. Yes, so if July 4th, the highest scoring game is 10-9, you will get $190 in wager bucks to use how you choose. This super early bird $100 discount using Football 100 and wager bucks bonus expires on June 30th with no exceptions. So if you plan to bet football this year, this is the lowest price we will offer. So act fast and lock in your favorite football handicappers in both NFL and college football through the national championships and Super Bowl.
Hey, guys, welcome in at a very, a happy Wednesday right now, June the 15th, and just two more games possible in the NBA season before we crown a champion, and Golden State made it a little bit easier to narrow it down in that Game 5. So what does it all mean? Of course, Game 6 will be played next month at this rate. But we do have three guys here who have been thinking about it, and they are absolutely going to be ready to pull a trigger one way or the other here in this game number 6 as we welcome back in Andy Lang, Tony Mejia, and Steve Merrill, 2 R's and 1 L here, guys. I believe we were here on Monday, I believe, talking about that Game 5 and what an interesting game that turned out to be. I mean, if let's be realistic here. If I would have told you, Andy, oh, guys, listen, Steph Curry, ass, 0 of 9, gonna suck, can't hit anything. Oh, yeah, by the way, Golden State wouldn't win the third quarter, which they've always won. They'd get blown out. We probably would have thought, and you tell me, I mean, I would have been leaning towards, wow, Boston ripped their ass, but not the case here, Andy, after that Game 3, my friend. Happy Wednesday. What do you got in store for us over there at WagerTalk, though, today?
Well, I actually wouldn't have been that surprised. Boston seems to just love making things really hard on themselves. They do. I mean, so it's a golden opportunity, and they mustered up 16 first-quarter points. And just, so lethargic and turning the ball over and throwing it to the wrong team and getting blocked and steals and just it's just really, really sloppy. So as far as what do we have today? Well, I've got 2 strong props that are up. Those are already locked and loaded for the game. I truly do not know what to expect from this Boston Celtics team. Nothing would surprise me. They could put up 120 and win by 14, or they could score 89 points and lose by 17. So the Celtics are becoming very perplexing to me. I do believe that Tatum is hurt. Nothing. That's the only thing that makes sense of why this guy can't finish at the rim and why he's shooting so bad from 2-pointers. I believe that it's going to come out that there's a pretty big injury coming. So I'm not putting any of my money near Boston or any of the Boston player props, but 2 strong props, and both of them are on Golden State Warriors, locked and loaded.
Ready to go. Love it. Big week here this week. Plenty of action going on. Nobody knows that better than Tony Mejia. I do think the shoulder might be more of an issue that's being led onto there, Tony, with Tatum. But I also think, watching that Game 5, they were gassed at the end of that game, man. I mean, he's throwing up threes. He ain't even hitting the rim. Like, he ain't even getting it to the rim. They put out the stat, I think, going into Game 5, close to 900 minutes of playoff basketball for him. The next closest for Golden State, was Klay Thompson at 711. It has been a grind for this Boston team. And say what you will, Udoka can't find a few minutes to, like, rest his ass in the third and fourth quarter. Like, you leave him out there to dry like that? What do you think here, Mahia?
Well, I think his hand was forced in Game 5. I broke my no tweeting during the game rule just to express my disgust with the Boston Celtics first half. And then they come out in the third quarter and reverse course and hit all those three-pointers, and they're back in it. And, yeah, I mean, look, they didn't have much left in the tank, but I don't want to hear it. You're 24 years old, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, same thing, young superstar. Suck it up and show up. And really, they played young in every loss in this series. They're the better team in this series. This would be a huge choke job. And the fact is they're either going to win the finals or they're going to go down as underachievers, and we can tear down the fact that they beat the Bucks without Chris Middleton. They swept the Nets team that was a shell of what they were supposed to be, and they beat the Miami Heat in a seventh game because Tyler Hero wasn't himself. And we can say that with a clear conscience if they fail. If they succeed, then they're conquering heroes. But look, they struggled. Jason Tatum's getting all the bad press, but Jaylen Brown deserves it too. And Jaylen Brown's a guy I've been pulling for, and he's actually my prop for the show. As somebody I expected to be the Finals MVP, because I figured that Jason Tatum would get all the attention and Jaylen Brown could get his shine. Hasn't happened, and he wilted just as significantly as Jason Tatum there in the fourth quarter of Game 5. So, we'll see there at home. We'll see if Scott Foster serves as series extender or if they save him for Game 7 so nobody can say anything. But very curious to see who the ref assignments are indeed going to be tomorrow, and looking forward to a solid Game 6.
Oh, we know who's going to be there tomorrow. Stop. We know. It's going to be a Game 7. We all know that. Merrill, listen, the old adage, right? Sometimes you got to lose in order to win. And boy, oh boy, they've made things very difficult for themselves. They had opportunities in Game 4 and Game 5 to end this series here for Golden State. I mean, are we going to get an 0 for 9 from Steph Curry again? I mean, are we going to get that kind of, game from him? Probably not. But they're not out of it, right? If you get into a Game 7, anything can happen, especially with Scott Foster in there. But what were your thoughts on that Game 5? I don't want to say meltdown, but they looked confused, discombobulated, turning the ball off. I thought they turned that around after they do that one game. It's now 2 games in a row, Steve.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I mean, it was a 10-point win, so it's hard to say a 3-point basket made the difference, but I knew Boston was in trouble with 1 second to go when Poole hit that half-court 3-point shot in the third quarter. I think that made a big difference in the game. You just kind of felt like, damn, it's like Boston had, within the first 2.5 minutes, they went on a 10-0 run to take the lead after halftime. I mean, and they reversed, like you said, Joe, the first third quarter, they outperformed the Golden State in the series, and then they give it back in the fourth. With that said, that was Game 5. That wasn't the series. So we'll see if they can amp things back up here in Game 6. I did a weekend video here on WagerTalk TV before Game 5. Right after Game 4 Friday night, I did it on Saturday afternoon, had a nice little shelf life, and I'd mentioned that there were some look-ahead advanced lines, bettable lines, at least in one of the big offshore books for Game 6 and 7. This is before 5 was even played. And the look-ahead line was assuming, obviously, Boston was going to lose Game 5, which they did. It was going to be Boston minus 2.5 in Game 6. It's now minus 4. So the betting market is definitely not priced in that they're done, which is interesting because the market should be the great equalizer, right? That should be the 50-50 consensus. And we know the public has been on Golden State for the most part in most of these games. They're now up 3-2. They were down 1-2. Now it's 3-2. With that said, though, all the shows I've done the last couple of days, including our boy Gabe Morency last night, thinks the Celtics are a falling knife. I told him he's not using that phrase correctly. 2 losses does not make you a falling knife, but he thinks they're done. Ski Profit on Wager Talk today. He'll be on with you guys tomorrow on the show. He liked the Warriors, so I don't know. It's like all of a sudden everyone's writing the Celtics off, and they were in a position going into the fourth quarter to win the game. So it's interesting to me to see the consensus and the sentiment kind of zigzag more than anything in this series. But I will say, Joe, I mentioned this yesterday on Wager Talk today. If I'd had the next day's newspaper, which is something I dream of having, by the way, on a daily basis, I would have lost a ton on the Celtics if I'd known Curry was going to be 0 for 9. And like you said, they're going to make more, double the free throw attempts, more rebounds, win the third quarter, man, we would have lost even more. So, sometimes it's crazy. But that's the one thing, if you're Boston, you got to be concerned about, is that Curry did not go off like he did in Game 4, and they still found a way to win.
Yep, and Wiggins continues to get rebounds at a ridiculous clip. Kudos to Andy Lang, pointed that out there on Monday. Kind of hard not to look at him and say, wow, he's quietly having and maybe the most consistent of all the Golden State Warriors through this point. He just gets it done, shows up, and does it on both ends, defensively and offensively. So we're wondering whether or not he's going to have yet another vital role in this Game 6. It is elimination time here, guys. And it's coming up here tomorrow. Hard to believe it feels like 9 days later. But yes, it is coming up tomorrow forever. But first, we want to send a big shout out to everyone in the chat room hanging out with us here today. Chad, John, Sean, Philip in the house. Lauren is also here. And if you guys have not done so and you're joining us, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the conversation in that chat room there. Hit the like button when you get a chance. And let's talk some Game 6 basketball here at the Golden State Warriors. Will find themselves 3.5, 4. Feel like it's just rinse and repeat here with this. Total, again, interesting. 211.5 is an open. That's creeped down a little bit. The total never really came into play, I don't think. There was never really in question. Although there were some points in that game, 5, that you, I think 189.5 at one point. Like, good Lord, put the damn bucket, put the basket in, will you? 189 for a finals game is brutal. But again, 210, 211, somewhere in that ballpark. Boston isn't home. Do we have to point out that it is now what, Andy, 75-0-2, I think, Ralph Michaels? Another one where the spread does not come into play. So what do you think here with this game? Start with the props for us here with Wiggins and everyone else. Are we fading anybody at this point in Game 6, or are you honing in on some guys to get the job done in this game?
Yeah, there's certainly things to look at. Boston, once again, gets nowhere near their team total in a loss. Mm-hmm. So, if you're playing Boston, if you think Boston's going to win, you're playing the team total over. If you think Boston's going to lose, you're playing the team total way under. And if you think Boston's going to lose, I mean, they're when they lose, their team total goes so far under that you can probably get some really good prices on some alt lines. If they got this team total at 104.5, maybe look and see if you can get them under 100. This is if you think Boston's going to lose. It's crazy, but you might also look at turnover props from Boston. Yeah. I think all of their starters except for Robert Williams went way over their turnover props. You got Jaylen Brown turning the ball over 5 times, Smart 4 turnovers, Tatum 4 turnovers, and it just so lethargic and sloppy with the ball. Some of them you couldn't really believe. As far as Golden State goes, Draymond's been the one catching most of the heat, but his stats, he gets pretty close to points, rebounds, and assists. So I think the general consensus, well, Draymond's been really bad in this series, but be very careful fading him. His total's right around his PRA is right around where it should be. I mentioned Otto Porter. Wait and see if Otto Porter starts again and then play his under. I mentioned him on the show last time. They had his points, rebounds, and assists at 10.5. He only played 15 minutes. He had 2 points and 2 rebounds. That was it. He's not out yet, but just keep it in the back of your head. Wait until closer if we get a starting lineup with Otto Porter in. And then Curry's an interesting one because, he was 0 for 9, but, I mean, Boston just completely went all in on trying to stop Curry, and they did a good job. Most of his shots I thought were contested. They made him work really hard. They were face guarding him, 15 feet outside the three-point line, and I thought it was really effective. I don't expect an 0 for 9, but as bad as he was, look at his assists. He kind of realized I'm not the guy tonight. They're face guarding, they're double teaming. Let's find the open guy. He had 8 assists last night. His total's 5.5 right now. Ooh. So if you think Boston's going to give him the double team and going over those screens and switching and face guarding him out high, you might look at Curry over his assist. Wiggins, listen, if you're a prop better, you know what Wiggins has been doing. And then I think you can look at Jordan Poole under some of his props. Jordan Poole played, he only played 14 minutes. He had 0 rebounds and 0 assists.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to kill any PRA. It's going to, obviously, you're taking, it's going to kill the rebounds and assist category. But the 14 minutes is concerning as well. So I think you could look at some of those guys, Poole under, Porter under, and then look at some of the turnover props on the Celtics.
Yeah, great way to approach it here. And Tony, the one thing I do know for a fact is that if the role players don't play better for Boston, it's over, and it's not even going to be close. I mean, Derek White couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Where was Grant Williams and all these great threes that we've like where were these guys? The bench got absolutely mauled by Golden State. So going into this game, we say role players play better at home. You think that's going to be a big factor in this game?
It should. Bench scoring was 31-10. And it was only 31-10 because Luke Cornett and Aaron Nesmith hit meaningless three-pointers. So the guys that actually play, Pritchard and obviously Grant Williams and Derek White, combined for 4 points, man. So that's not good. And they're using Derek White in these lineups with Al Horford as a center, the small ball lineups, and that was a really big detractor for the Celtics, dragged them down throughout Game 5. So I don't know if Ime Udoka is going to revise some things. We talked about going into Game 5 that I felt that he would throw that curveball at Steph Curry, and I was right. But then you get an 0 for 9 3-point game out of him, and you can't capitalize. So I found interesting that everybody expects Jason Tatum to turn it up. His PRA in this one is the highest of any player on either team, 41.5. Steph comes in at 40.5, despite the off shooting game. His point total remains the same as it has the entire series, 28.5. I saw a stat that was very interesting in the 9 games since 2013 where he's failed to make a three. The next game, he averages 4.4 makes on 46% three-point shooting. So he obviously bounces back nicely. He's never done that in a playoff game. So we'll see how he reacts in an opposing gym with all the attention on him. I don't think he shoots 46%. If he does, we don't, from Beyond the Arc, if he does, we're not having a show on Friday because the finals will be over. And I think that, from that standpoint, you take your chances with Game 6 Klay. You take your chances, if you're the Celtics, with Andrew Wiggins going for 26 and 13 again. First time he's led the Warriors in both those categories all season. It was wild to see him be the best player on the court in a Game 5 in the NBA Finals, and living up to the promise that he hadn't throughout his entire career. When LeBron didn't want him as a number 1 pick, and he underachieved with the Timberwolves, and everybody made fun of him being an All-Star this year, and all of a sudden here he is having the last laugh and pushing Steph Curry as far as Finals MVP goes. Although I don't even think an off night from Curry and a great day from Wiggins will take away Curry's crown if the Warriors do go on to win the NBA Finals tomorrow night. Boston 3-0 when facing elimination, so there's that. But they were 7-0 coming off a loss, and we all know what happened to that. So it'll be interesting. I think pressure lies with Ime Udoka, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. And I do think Jaylen Brown bounces back. That'll be my best bet at the end of the show.
All right. Thinks there's some bounce back spots in this one. I don't know, Steve, how much stock you put into experience here, because there was obviously, we heard a ton from Celtics backers about how they're the youth and the athleticism and they're taller and all these different types of edges. But we know Golden State's got the experience. Preferably, I would say, being up 3-1 and losing in a finals, I got to believe is something they're going to call upon here, knowing we cannot we don't want to go back home. These guys know exactly what that's like, Merrill. They know they got to get this job done on the road in Boston. They know what can happen in a Game 7, even at home here. So how much stock do you put that this Golden State team, been there, done that, knows what they got to do here?
Yeah, of course, this is the same Golden State team that was up 3-0, did not close out at Denver. 3-0, did not close out at Dallas. Now, I fully am aware that it's a lot different when you're up 3-0 versus a game 6 of a final, so I'm not saying it's the same thing. But they haven't exactly had that close it out on the road mentality. And statistically, they've been a much weaker road team here in the playoffs and just in the regular season, too. Boston was a team that was a stronger road team versus Golden State. And it's also not like the Celtics are a pushover. They're not. It's not like Golden State is favored like they were at Dallas or Denver. As I said earlier, the look at was 2.5. Now it's 4. So even if you factor in some home court, a little bit of a bounce back, odds makers are still saying these teams are even. Boston's maybe a point better. That's why I found it interesting, as I said earlier, that all of a sudden everyone is writing Boston off after just 2 losses, even though they are leading going into the final quarter of the last game. Just to put in perspective how amazing what Wiggins is doing. FanDuel had props before the finals began on highest score for this series, highest assist per game, highest rebound per game. They had 6 or 7 guys on there. The long shot was Stephen Curry at 75-1 to have the best rebound average per game. Wiggins was second on that list at 55-1. He's averaging over 9.5 rebounds a game. Nobody else is over 7.5. He's at the highest for the game 6 at 7.5 with some other guys. So most likely he is going to have the highest rebound average, which was 55-1 a week ago when the finals began.
Wow.
That's how much he's overperformed, outperformed, whatever you want to call it. I think you have to look for him to regress a little bit after back-to-back monster games. His point total now it's one place. FanDuel actually has 17.5 over -130. DraftKings has 8.5 under -130. So shop around, obviously, some variance there. He has had still, I believe, right around 18 or less in 3 of the 5 games. He had those 2 monster games, obviously, with 20 and 26, but he had 11, 18, and 17 in between. So pretty much spot on there. But I still think you have to look for him to regress. Curry, never going to look for an under with him, obviously, but you do look for him to play better. He's going to be priced to extreme, though, in the 30s. Klay Thompson is a guy that's played a lot better the last few games than I thought. This is a guy that we talk about fatigue. Everyone's saying Boston's tired. Got to wonder if Klay Thompson's going to hit a wall at some point. This guy missed the whole season with injury. He doesn't get to the hoop like he used to. He's relying heavily on 3-point shots still. And I just don't think those are going to fall as easy on the road in a fatigue situation. So I would look for Thompson to probably regress a little bit as well.
So, Wiggins now all of a sudden looking like a dream first-round pick, which reminded us that we do have an NBA draft coming up just around the corner, too, next week. So, regardless of what happens here this weekend, whoever wins, loses here over the next couple days, still some NBA action coming your way here, guys. The draft will be around next Thursday, and we'll have a live show then talking about some of the opportunities for those teams up at the top of the board. Who goes, who doesn't go? Do you draft Chet Holmgren? Do you wait until he eats a ham sandwich and puts on 2 pounds? What do you do? All right, don't forget, though, best bets are locked and loaded with these guys over at WagerTalk.com. Make sure you're visiting Andy. A huge week here coming up there. I believe a little Formula One. We got U.S. Open. Tony Mejia can tell you all about the soccer schedules going on. MLB for Steve Merrill. Locked and loaded, guys. Head over there now. Grab those best bets at WagerTalk.com. And speaking of best bets, Andy, start us off. 60 seconds. A lot of ways to approach this game. Give us one of those bets you like.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the one Boston Celtic prop that I like as my best bet for everybody today. You mentioned it. We got a great week with the U.S. Open. I got a 5% play that goes off Thursday morning early, so go ahead and grab that. On a 7-1 MLB run, we have a great Formula One race this weekend. We're hitting 63% this year. But we have a promo code, WIN50, WIN50. Get you 50% off a 30-day pass. You can lock everything in. We've got Wimbledon coming up. We're number 1 in tennis this year. So a lot of really good things. We're plus 138 units since March 1st. So we're really in the zone. I'm just going to take the same best bet that I gave out on Monday that hit. That's Marcus Smart, over 2.5, made 3-pointers. It's -105. He's now done it in every game except game 2. That was the blowout where they just had the awful shooting night. He's hit 3-pointers in the last 3 games. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Marcus Smart's not afraid to take the shot, take over 2.5 made threes.
Let him get it done. No problem. Yeah, no, he hadn't met a shot he didn't like yet. That's a shit show. All right, Tony Mejia, talk to us here, my man. You alluded to it a little earlier. Wrap it up for us here, 60 seconds. Where you going, best bet?
All right, we'll see if we got a 5% play tomorrow. On the NBA, we had a 4% money line MLB play. Went 7-0 on MLB yesterday, 5-2 the day before that, 0-1 today because the Phillies didn't win the first 5, although they did beat the Marlins in the 9th inning. And we also have a lot to be written on about these NBA finals. Andrew Wiggins, from being an underachiever at Kansas, an underachiever his entire career, maybe now he's a superstar. Depends on what happens tomorrow. Klay Thompson shooting 38% from the field. I agree with Steve. I think he's running out of steam. Do we see a Game 6 Klay? I'm not sure about that. Jason Tatum, 36% shooting in the paint, worst in the NBA Finals in 25 years. Hasn't even attempted a dunk in this series. So we're not going to ride with him. We'll ride with Jaylen Brown, my Finals MVP to begin the series. He should be getting a lot more slack. 5 for 18 in Game 5, just 18 points, the 5 turnovers. I think he has a big bounce back game, and the number is a little higher, which is a little bit of a tell. So over 31.5 points and rebounds for Jaylen Brown, going down swinging as the Celtics try to avoid elimination.
I love it. All right, Jaylen Brown getting it done here. Boy, they're going to need him to get something done, that's for sure. All right, Merrill, talk to us here. 60 seconds on the clock. Which way are you leaning here for a best bet tonight?
Going to have a free NBA player prop for Game 6 of the NBA Finals on Thursday night. Just a quick reminder, big baseball cards on both Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday night alone, I've got 2 strong best bets in MLB, 78% run over the past week. Also, the Game 6 best bet between the Celtics and Warriors for my personal clients. You too can get it for free when you get the MLB special. $4.99 gets the rest of baseball through the World Series through November. Game 6 and 7 if necessary included for free. You get NBA included for free with that baseball special. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Let's look at a free player prop for Thursday night Game 6. Going to look at Andrew Wiggins to regress a bit and go under. Total points around 17.5, 18.5. I think the better option is points, rebounds, assists under 28.5. Look, in the 5 games so far in this series, he has had right around 18 points in every game, but he's been under the PRA 25, 19, 27, 31, 41, 35, 41. So 3 of the 5 times he's been 27 or less. For the season, he averaged just 24 points, rebounds, assists. Andrew Wiggins under PRA Game 6.
Love it. Wiggins up and under. And a big shout out to our boy there, Ronald Kabang there, you capper. Notice the odds for Al Horford to win the MVP. I'm not quite sure what LOL means either, but I'm going to guess that I don't know if that actually works out to any sort of number, except maybe save your cash because he ain't winning MVP at all here. It's an interesting game number 6 here, guys. Will there be a game number 7? Much still to be determined here this week, I think. And once again, if you missed it here, Andy's liking Marcus Smart over 2.5 made 3-pointers. Like, he ain't met a shot he hasn't liked yet. We haven't seen it, so who knows? He makes 1, he'll start chucking up a whole lot of them. While Tony Mia says, expect Jaylen Brown to bounce back here. 31.5 points and rebounds for him. And Merrill, well, he thinks maybe a slight regression happening here with Andrew Wiggins under his 28.5 PRA. Merrill, let me ask you, is there an angle to approach here, or what would be your advice to incorporate maybe a bet along with the series in 6, series in 7, maybe Celtics in 7, to win it all at plus what, 390, 380, somewhere in that. Any way to correlate some of these future bets based upon Game 6 and or Game 7?
No, I mean, at this point, it's obviously either a 1 or 2 game series, right? So if you like Golden State to win it here, you're getting them plus 140, 145 on the money line or the plus 4. As we mentioned earlier, only twice in the last 50 NBA Finals has a team won and not covered in 2 pushes. So, once again, you want to put at least half probably on the money line dog. If you like them to win the series still, you're probably better off just money line parlaying because you could always, in case, like Andy said and Tony, you guys all talked about, in case Tatum's shoulder becomes injured again or gets worse, if they do win the game, you just stop. You don't have to parlay it into the second Game 7. So I would just recommend a 2-game parlay if you like Boston to win the series. Quickly on the MVP odds, Curry was about minus 115 when the series began, and I mentioned that I thought it was good to play at least half on him if you like Golden State. Teddy said no, but he was around minus 115, 120 going into Game 5. He goes 0 for 9, has a terrible game, and now he's over minus 300. So the odds are stayed. He's going to definitely be the MVP. And like Tony said, Wiggins is in the mix now at 8-1, but he's only averaged 18 points. Curry's averaged 30. He was 0 for 9. He's still hitting 41.7% from 3 in the series. That's how good he had been. So he'd have to have a god-awful game. And if that's the case, I don't see them winning, right? So it's him, and it's either Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Al Horford, your boy Al Horford, 100-1 right now, Joe. So you can put a little bit of fun money on that.
Yeah, LOL.
Good early.
Let me ask you here. The first half, because a lot has been made about the Celtics coming out at home off a loss, running it. The total has creeped up 107, 106.5, 107 in there. High scoring? Are you comfortable thinking that maybe both teams offensively come out, or are we going to see where one team does enough, the other team struggles? Maybe the unders are just a way to keep looking at it here, especially in Game 6.
Yeah, I would lean first half under. The Game 4 first quarter total barely got there. It got there at the buzzer on a Grant Williams 3, and then Game 5 wasn't even close because the Celtics came out as poorly as they did. And I think if I'm Ime Udoka, the last thing I tell my team is they stop playing like assholes. He supposedly said that in the huddle, and it worked early on in the series. And you stop throwing the ball around, man, leading to easy buckets. So I think maybe a more methodical approach, especially with the home crowd there to settle down the bench players and the younger stars of the Celtics. So I like that first half under. Just an interesting stat: the Warriors are 3-3. Steve alluded to it earlier in series clinchers. So they've been they have not been lights out. No team has ever lost 4 series clinchers in a postseason. So they could lose 5 potentially.
Amen to that. Andy, give me a name for a dark horse on either team in this game that may come out of the clouds and we're going to be like, holy shit, didn't see that happening.
Somebody that may play good that would surprise you. Jason Tatum.
I was waiting for that one.
Draymond Green.
That would surprise me. No, the suspects are very limited. A lot of these guys haven't shown anything. I'm not going with Jordan Poole. I don't trust him on the road in a big spot. I'll go with you know what? I think at the home crowd, Derek White.
Derek White or
somebody
Grant
coming
Williams.
up.
It's got to be one of
Derek
those
White.
guys.
I don't trust Grant Williams. He's a basket case.
How about one of the Williamses?
Yeah.
Give me Grant Williams.
No,
Give me
you mentioned him
Grant.
earlier.
no,
Nope.
I'm going Derek White. Give me Derek White. He's going to go 4 of 6 from 3-pointers. Surprise everybody. Pick up the bench scoring, and we have our Derek White game.
Yeah, what's going on with him, Mejia? I mean, because he's been going into this series, he was into the finals. He was. I mean, we were having all sorts of conversations of what an unbelievable trade. Now he's like MIA, can't hit shit. What happened?
He's in his own head. I mean, he came back and had that, and I've seen it a couple of times with a couple of guys this season that they come back off of having a new kid where their wife gives birth and they're on paternity leave and they come back and they're just on another stratosphere. Maybe that's worn off because it certainly looks like it. He's a guy that you could tell what a good, solid team player he was, a two-way player, a guy that's a willing defender and a willing passer in San Antonio, but his Achilles heel was always a streaky shooter. And so maybe that streak has run cold. I agree. He's the X factor. But maybe a name out of nowhere, Peyton Pritchard. If we get the Peyton Pritchard that we saw in Miami specifically, where he lit up the FTX arena a couple times, then the Celtics have a shot to gain some separation there.
He seems like a guy, Pritchard, like he needs to make buckets early because that game got progressively worse as he was missing early. It was like, he wasn't even sniffing the court later on there. Nothing worse than when the baby mom is having a baby during the final series. Really, you got to hold off on that. All right, don't forget, Andy's got the best bets. Tony Mejia's got best bets. Steve Merrill got best bets, not just for this game, guys, but all weekend long. I mean, huge events going on. Maybe those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages are absolutely the way to go. You want value, guys? Get every play of theirs every day. 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all access, including those 5% best bets. Get them now, guys. Go over there and grab those. We could still have 2 more NBA Finals games here, plenty of MLB and other action across the landscape. There is zero reason not to make it an extremely profitable Wednesday heading into the weekend. Visit these guys tonight over at WagerTalk.com. Hit that subscribe button. As you can see, guys, just about 97,500 subscribers. If you haven't done so, on our way to the 6-figure mark here, we could certainly use your help. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If you're joining us, you haven't done so already, hit the like button. Shout out to all the ladies and gentlemen in the chat room here today. We appreciate you. UCAP are here. Revenant in the house, although a little late, but hey, better late than never. Revenant, good to see you there. Brandon, Chad, Sean, you guys rock. Don't forget, hit that like button. Come back. I mean, hey, listen, we got NBA draft coming up, regardless of what happens here tomorrow. We got another show tomorrow. We got NBA draft next week. The NBA talk will continue in the immediate future. And until we talk again tomorrow afternoon, guys, best of luck with your plays tonight and all weekend long. Come back and join us again. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck.
Who's thinking about buying football in June? Well, with the super early bird football promotion at WagerTalk and Sports Memo, we have a few reasons why. Early bird pricing for NFL and college football combo is $8.99. But using coupon code FOOTBALL100, you can take $100 off, dropping the price to $7.99. If you purchase by June 30th and use coupon code FOOTBALL100 to get your $100 discount, we'll also toss in an additional bonus. On July 4th, we'll take the highest scoring MLB game of the day and give you $10 for every run scored. Yes, so if July 4th, the highest scoring game is 10-9, you will get $190 in wager bucks to use how you choose. This super early bird $100 discount using Football 100 and wager bucks bonus expires on June 30th with no exceptions. So if you plan to bet football this year, this is the lowest price we will offer. So act fast and lock in your favorite football handicappers in both NFL and college football through the national championships and Super Bowl.